look for Michael Jackson's birthplace room. Oh yeah, this is the main entrance.
Oh, wow.
Jackson did not simply create music. He created history. The moonwalk across a television stage, the opening synth beats of Thriller. One glittering glove lifted silently before an entire stadium of fans.
Out.
For more than 4 decades, his voice and movement shaped the rhythm of popular culture. He began as a child with extraordinary musical instincts and ultimately became the best-selling solo artist the world had ever known.
Breathe.
And now, 67 years later, the room where he was born has finally opened, revealing something surprisingly haunting. A star is born. On August 29, 1958, Katherine Jackson entered labor at Mercy Hospital in Gary, Indiana. At 7:33 p.m., she delivered her 7th child, Michael Joseph Jackson. The birth was difficult, leaving Katherine completely drained. The room itself was simple and clinical, filled with ordinary equipment as the crushing summer heat pressed against the windows.
Day of my life. Never had that feeling before.
The medical staff treated the delivery as completely routine. Katherine later told relatives that Michael seemed noticeably different from her other newborn children. He rarely cried. Instead, he remained unusually quiet, lying with his eyes open and watching the faces around him with an almost unsettling focus. Nobody inside that room had any reason to imagine the scale of what had just begun. The nurses completed their paperwork. Katherine rested and held her newborn son. Now it is time for our special topic. A chilling image circulating online appears to show the abandoned St. Mary Mercy Hospital in Gary, Indiana, where a dark, decaying hallway leads toward a weathered wooden door-marked birth room. Peeling wallpaper, collapsing walls, and the shadowy doorway create the disturbing impression that something unknown is waiting inside. Beside the corridor appears an eerily realistic portrait of Michael Jackson. The bizarre combination of an abandoned hospital and the king of pop has fueled ghost stories, conspiracy theories, and endless speculation across the internet. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The soundtrack of Jackson Street. The Jackson family lived at 2300 Jackson Street, a small 2-bedroom house on a quiet corner in Gary, Indiana. Joseph and Katherine Jackson raised 9 children inside those cramped walls, even though the home was barely large enough for a family half that size. The living room doubled as sleeping space for the older boys, while the kitchen table could not accommodate everyone at once. Joseph worked shifts at the nearby steel mills, and the constant low rumble of industrial machinery became the background soundtrack of everyday life.
All the people on TV.
Inside the living room, Joseph kept his guitar and several amplifiers left from his earlier years performing with a local band. He wanted his sons to understand music, and rehearsals soon became part of their everyday routine. The boys practiced harmonies while Katherine quietly listened from the kitchen doorway. The house was modest in almost every possible way, but the sound emerging from inside was controlled, disciplined, and remarkably precise. The Chitlin Circuit Prodigy. The Jackson brothers began competing in talent contests throughout the Midwest, traveling between venues on the Chitlin Circuit, a network of Black-owned clubs and theaters that had supported Black performers for generations. Michael was only 5 years old when he joined the group, yet he quickly became its undeniable center. He studied every performer who stepped onto the stage before him, memorizing the footwork of Jackie Wilson and the vocal phrasing of James Brown.
Who's your favorite singer?
I like the
At the Apollo Theater in Harlem, the brothers won Amateur Night, a major achievement that opened important doors behind the scenes. Michael sat quietly while his siblings laughed and relaxed, but once he stepped onto the stage, he moved with a level of confidence that stunned audiences. Those early tours taught him performance discipline and complete audience control at an age when most children were still learning how to read. Motown's finishing school. Berry Gordy signed the Jackson 5 to Motown Records in 1969 and moved the family to Los Angeles. During the transition, The brothers stayed in a motel while Catherine and Joseph remained at Gordy's mansion. Rehearsals took place every day at Motown's Hitsville West studio, where choreographers drilled every movement until each routine became instinctive. Michael spent his free time watching established Motown artists recording inside the studio. He absorbed production techniques from Smokey Robinson and studied the way Marvin Gaye layered his vocals. Bobby Taylor, the producer who originally brought the group to Motown's attention, worked closely on their earliest recordings. I Want You Back arrived in October 1969 and climbed to #1 on the Billboard chart. Michael was only 11 years old, conquering the world on a cartoon pedestal. The Jackson 5 became a nationwide phenomenon through television and merchandising. Their performance on The Ed Sullivan Show introduced them to an enormous audience and quickly led to appearances on other major variety programs. Soon afterward, Motown licensed a Saturday morning animated series titled The Jackson 5, which premiered on ABC in 1971. The program featured cartoon versions of the brothers experiencing musical adventures and continued for 2 seasons. Their faces appeared across lunchboxes, posters, and board games, turning them into one of the most heavily merchandised acts of the era. For countless young fans, the cartoon became their first introduction to the group. This level of cross-platform exposure was unusual for any musical act and unprecedented for a Black group. The marketing machine transformed the brothers into permanent household names far beyond the record charts. The cutting room floor at Studio 54. By the late 1970s, the Jackson 5 had left Motown and signed with Epic Records, but Michael was already imagining a solo future and studying the wider musical world around him. He began spending more time in New York City, where nightlife culture had reached its peak. Studio 54 stood at the center of that universe, a nightclub famous for celebrity guests and the disco sound dominating the airwaves.
Do you regret having to keep up with this schoolwork?
Michael entered Studio 54 as an observer rather than a participant. He often stood near the DJ booth or watched from the balcony, carefully studying how the crowd reacted whenever the beat or tempo changed. He was mentally collecting rhythms, noticing which grooves filled the dance floor and which ones kept people moving. The disco energy he absorbed during those nights would directly influence the foundation of his first major adult solo album, Destiny's Walled Garden. After signing their new record deal, the Jacksons moved into a large estate in Encino, California. The property contained multiple buildings, a swimming pool, and enough surrounding land to protect the family from the outside world. Michael had private quarters of his own, but rarely left the estate except for work. He filled rooms with mannequins, dressing and arranging them as though they were having conversations. He also began collecting animals, including a boa constrictor named Muscles, 2 fawns, and several birds. These were not publicity stunts. Michael was deeply lonely, surrounding himself with companions that demanded nothing from him. The estate provided space and protection, but it also pushed him further away from people his own age. He was in his early 20s, wealthy and globally famous, yet increasingly alone. The Velvet Rope Rebellion. Michael hired Quincy Jones to produce his 5th solo album, Off the Wall. They recorded throughout 1979 at Alan Zent's recording in Los Angeles. Jones assembled elite session musicians, including several members of Toto, and pushed Michael to explore a wider and more powerful vocal range. Michael developed a sharper, more percussive delivery, using his voice like a rhythmic instrument instead of simply carrying a melody. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough opened the album with a spoken introduction before exploding into a driving beat that defined the project. The record fused disco, funk, and pop ballads into one unified statement. It sold more than 20 million copies worldwide and earned Michael his first Grammy as a solo artist. More importantly, it established him as a fully independent adult performer, separate from both his brothers and his childhood identity. The genesis of the Glide. On March 25, 1983, NBC broadcast Motown 25. Yesterday, Today, Forever, a televised anniversary celebration. During the program, Michael performed Billie Jean. He appeared in a black sequin jacket, one white glove, and black trousers cut above the ankles, creating an image that would become permanently connected to him. During the instrumental break, he performed the moonwalk, a dance technique adapted from street performers that created the illusion of walking forward while sliding backward. The audience's screams could be heard clearly across the broadcast. The movement lasted only seconds, yet it became the defining image of the entire special. That performance permanently separated Michael from his Jackson 5 past in the public imagination. He was no longer remembered simply as the gifted child lead singer. He had become a solo performer standing at the absolute center of global pop culture, Thriller's laboratory of perfection. The Thriller album was recorded at Westlake Recording Studios in Los Angeles across several months in 1982. Quincy Jones and engineer Bruce Swedian worked beside Michael to build a record capable of reaching nearly every major radio format at once. Beat It featured a guitar solo from Eddie Van Halen, giving rock stations a reason to embrace the album. The Girl Is Mine paired Michael with Paul McCartney for adult contemporary audiences. The title track featured horror narration from Vincent Price. Billie Jean reportedly went through 91 mixes before Jones ultimately returned to mix number 2. The completed album contained only 9 tracks, yet 7 of them became top 10 singles.
I was wondering if you would be my girl.
Thriller remained at number 1 on the Billboard chart for 37 weeks and ultimately became the best-selling album in recorded music history. The long-form fairy tale. Michael viewed music videos as opportunities to tell complete cinematic stories rather than simply document a performance. For the Thriller short film, he hired director John Landis. The finished production lasted 14 minutes and premiered theatrically before reaching MTV. Its $500,000 budget was almost unheard of for a music video at the time. Beat It included carefully choreographed sequences featuring actual Los Angeles gang members alongside professional dancers. These productions completely changed the way record companies understood the music video format. MTV, which had previously faced criticism for giving limited exposure to black performers, began placing Michael's videos into heavy rotation. Their success helped create opportunities for other black artists and permanently transformed both the commercial value and creative ambition of music videos. Victory and the Regal Bearing. The Jacksons reunited for the Victory Tour in 1984, a 55-date stadium journey across North America. Michael was unquestionably the center of attention, and his stage presence reflected that reality. He appeared in military-inspired jackets, aviator sunglasses, and the glittering glove that had become his signature. Stage illusions created by magician Doug Henning were built into the show's transitions. Michael's solo sections generated the strongest audience reactions by an enormous margin. The tour earned approximately $75 million, setting a record at the time. Behind the scenes, however, disagreements between the brothers over money and creative control made the experience increasingly difficult. Michael donated his entire share of the tour profits to charity. The Victory Tour strengthened his identity as the king of pop, but it also became the final complete tour he would perform with his brothers. The Sanctuary of Neverland. In 1988, Michael purchased a 2,700-acre ranch in Los Olivos, California, for approximately $17 million. He renamed the property Neverland Ranch, inspired by the fictional island from Peter Pan. Over the following years, he transformed the estate into a private fantasy world. He installed an amusement park containing a Ferris wheel, bumper cars, and a roller coaster. A private zoo housed giraffes, elephants, orangutans, and his famous chimpanzee, Bubbles. The property included a movie theater with luxurious seating, a floral clock near the railway tracks, and a steam train that carried visitors around the estate. Michael lived there inside a world of carefully designed isolation. The ranch represented his attempt to build the childhood environment he had never experienced while growing up inside recording studios and touring across the world. If you have made it this far, hit the like button. It genuinely helps the channel. Bad. The colder, harder edge. Released in 1987, Bad became Michael's follow-up to Thriller and represented a deliberate transformation in both sound and image. The album carried a tougher, more aggressive energy and a sharper visual identity. He worked again with Quincy Jones but pushed for tracks that felt leaner and more rhythmically intense. The music video for Bad was directed by Martin Scorsese and filmed inside a New York subway station. Michael's physical appearance had changed noticeably. He wore layers of belts and buckles, his hair had grown longer, and his body appeared leaner and more muscular. The album produced 5 consecutive #1 singles, including The Way You Make Me Feel and Smooth Criminal. A massive world tour followed, stretching across 123 concerts in 15 countries over 16 months. A global egalitarian anthem. In January 1985, Michael and Lionel Richie co-wrote We Are the World to raise money for famine relief in Ethiopia. The recording session took place on the night of the American Music Awards, when many of the biggest names in the music industry were already gathered in Los Angeles. 46 artists gathered at A&M Studios in Hollywood. Quincy Jones produced the historic session and placed a sign at the entrance reading, "Check your ego at the door." Michael recorded a guide vocal that was played for the assembled performers. Stevie Wonder, Bruce Springsteen, Diana Ross, and Ray Charles were among the legendary names taking part. The single eventually sold more than 20 million copies and raised over $63 million for humanitarian relief. The project proved that popular music could mobilize worldwide charitable action on a scale never seen before. Dangerous, the industrial pulse. For Dangerous, released in 1991, Michael moved away from Quincy Jones and worked with producer Teddy Riley, one of the pioneers of New Jack Swing. The album's sound relied heavily on drum machines, synthesizers, and hard mechanical rhythms instead of traditional live instrumentation. Jam opened with the sound of shattering glass before a crushing bass pulse established the album's aggressive energy. Black or white fused rock guitar with a rap section and a message centered on racial unity. The album debuted at #1 in 13 countries simultaneously. The Dangerous World Tour stretched from 1992 into 1993, reaching 69 cities across several continents. The stage production included pyrotechnics, elaborate illusions, and a dramatic finale where Michael appeared to fly away from the stage wearing a jetpack, creating one of the most unforgettable images of his live career. The Super Bowl standard. On January 31st, 1993, Michael headlined the Super Bowl 27 halftime show at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. At the beginning of the performance, he stood completely motionless for nearly 90 seconds, allowing the tension to build across the stadium and television audience. Then the music exploded. He performed Jam, Billie Jean, and Black or White before transitioning into Heal the World. A massive inflatable globe rose at midfield as more than 3,000 children from local organizations joined him for the finale. The broadcast attracted approximately 133 million viewers, with ratings actually increasing during halftime. After that performance, the NFL began pursuing major pop stars for the halftime slot every year, permanently transforming the event into a global entertainment spectacle. History. The Architectural Revenge. History. Past, Present, and Future. Book I arrived in 1995 as a double album. The first disc collected his greatest hits, while the second contained new material confronting his personal struggles more directly than anything he had previously released. Scream, a duet with his sister Janet Jackson, received a futuristic music video reportedly costing $7 million, making it the most expensive ever created at the time. They Don't Care About Us combined aggressive percussion with direct social commentary. You Are Not Alone became the first song in Billboard Hot 100 history to debut at #1. The entire album felt personal, defensive, and confrontational. Its supporting world tour traveled through 35 countries across 82 performances, using massive stage machinery and political imagery throughout the choreography and production design. The emotional volcano of Moscow. Michael's first concert in Russia took place in September 1993 at Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow during the Dangerous World Tour, marking one of the earliest major Western pop concerts in post-Soviet Russia. Heavy rain fell throughout the performance, turning the wet stage into an unexpected challenge that affected the choreography. Michael continued through the downpour, without stopping. During that visit, he began writing Stranger in Moscow, a haunting song centered on loneliness and isolation. He completed the track later, and it eventually appeared on the History album in 1995. The song was not performed during that rain-soaked concert. Its live debut came years later during the History World Tour in 1996, transforming the modern music video. Throughout the 1990s, Michael continued pushing music videos far beyond traditional promotional limits. Remember the Time became a 9-minute short film set inside an Egyptian palace and featured Eddie Murphy, Iman, and Magic Johnson. The production used elaborate costumes, golden sets, and hundreds of dancers. Scream unfolded inside a monochrome futuristic spacecraft filled with advanced visual effects. Then, in 1996, Michael created Ghosts, a 38-minute film co-written with Stephen King and directed by special effects legend Stan Winston. Michael portrayed several characters using extensive prosthetic makeup. These productions continued his long-standing mission to transform music videos into complete cinematic experiences with their own release campaigns, media attention, and cultural impact. Blood on the Dance Floor, Sonic Surgery. In 1997, Michael released Blood on the Dance Floor, History in the Mix, a hybrid project combining new songs with remixes from the History album. The title track carried a sharp, syncopated rhythm and a darker lyrical atmosphere than many of his previous singles. Remixes of Scream, Earth Song, and other tracks were created by producers connected to British and European electronic music scenes. The album achieved modest success in the United States, but became a major international seller, particularly across the United Kingdom and Germany. It eventually moved more than 6 million copies worldwide. The project demonstrated Michael's willingness to allow outside producers to completely reinterpret his recordings, something relatively unusual for an artist with his level of commercial power. The classical crossover gamble. Throughout the 1990s, Michael also created orchestral music alongside his pop recordings. Because he did not traditionally read or write musical notation, he captured ideas by humming melodies into recorders and layering vocal tracks to represent string and horn arrangements. Professional arrangers later translated those vocal ideas into complete orchestral scores. Some of this work appeared inside the 1996 short film Ghosts, which included original symphonic material. Other compositions remained archived and were released after his death. Michael spoke about wanting recognition as a serious composer within the classical tradition. Although orchestral work never became his main commercial focus, it consumed a significant amount of creative energy during the final active decades of his career. The broader canvas of Earth Song. Earth Song was released from History in 1995. The track unfolded across distinct musical stages, beginning with a quiet piano before building toward an explosive vocal climax. Michael developed the song after first conceiving it while staying in Europe, and its recording evolved across multiple studio sessions. The lyrics confronted environmental destruction, deforestation, war, and animal suffering, subjects he had explored before, but never with this level of scale or emotional intensity. During the History World Tour, the performance ended with a tank moving onto the stage and stopping before a child holding a flower. At the 1996 Brit Awards, Michael performed the song while elevated high above the stage on a crane. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson died inside a rented home in Los Angeles. He was 50 years old. The quiet boy from Jackson Street had become the most famous entertainer on Earth. His albums shattered sales records. His videos transformed the music industry. His tours redefined what audiences expected from live performance. He left behind a catalog that continues dominating playlists and inspiring generations of new artists. The story that began inside a cramped 2-bedroom house in Indiana ended beneath headlines across the entire world. But the music never ended.